What's up, nation citizens? Tyler Yaremchuk here, and with the deadline just around the corner, today I want to talk about goaltending. Everyone seems to think that there's a magical goalie trade out there for the Edmonton Oilers, and listen, I'm just as frustrated by the play of Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard as anybody else. Their play has cost the Oilers a lot of points in the standings so far this season. They have not been good enough, but the idea that Stan Bowman can just make one call, solve the Oilers' goaltending problems, and then boom, we're back to being the number one Stanley Cup contender in the league. I don't think it's all that realistic. Let's start with what the Oilers have to trade, or maybe I should say, let's start with what little space the Edmonton Oilers have. Even in a perfect world where Evander Kane is going to be on LTIR for the remainder of the regular season, the Oilers are still only going to have $5.1 million in deadline cap space. If you want to get a John Gibson or a Jordan Binnington, which are two of the common names people like to float out there, it's going to eat up every little bit of that LTIR space. You won't be able to make another move unless there are bodies going out. Again, a goalie coming in with Calvin Pickard's $1 million cap hit going out, you barely have enough space to get one of Binnington or John Gibson. Number two, it's assets. Everyone keeps saying, well, just get the other team to retain some money. It costs assets to get the other team to keep money, and Gibson and Binnington both have term remaining on their contracts. So what are you going to do to make it worthwhile for the Ducks or the Blues or any other team that could be trading you a goalie to keep that money? Well, you're going to have to give them a first-round pick. The Oilers don't have their first-round pick in 2025. All they have this year is a second, a third, a sixth, and a seventh. Next year, they have their picks, but if you're dipping into that asset pool just to get the other team to keep the money needed to make this trade work, then what are you actually paying for the player? What assets are you giving up for the player? The Oilers don't have a lot of prospects. They don't have a high-end goalie prospect they could float the other way. So what are you giving up to make this deal happen? The Oilers don't have enough assets to go get a goalie and go strengthen their blue line, which I think is still their true number one need. And third on this list, who is truly available? Yes, John Gibson says he'd waive his no movement clause to go to Edmonton, but those reports always include a line that says he'll go if he can be the starter. To me, that means he wants the Oilers to not have Stuart Skinner. He doesn't want to be in a 1B, 1A, 1B type of situation. Jordan Binnington could be on the market, according to some insiders, but I'll add not many. He's got 2 more years at $6 million. I like Jordan Binnington. I'd be open to acquiring Jordan Binnington, but why would St. Louis trade him right now? Why wouldn't they wait until the summer when there's more teams with openings? Like right now, the Oilers are kind of the only Stanley Cup contender or playoff contender who really need to go add a goalie. And guess what? That drives up prices. Listen, this is not a popular opinion, and I would be down to see the Oilers go out and acquire a goalie. I really like someone like an Alex Lyon, for example, who is low on the cap hit side and would be relatively low on the asset side. But here's another thing. The Detroit Red Wings are right in the thick of it in the playoff picture. Why would they move him? You could say the same thing about Utah and Karel Vejmelka. Why would they move on for him or give him up for anything other than a king's ransom? And if you're the Oilers, as I just outlined, you don't have the assets to pay a king's ransom for a goalie when you have other holes in your roster. I know Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard have not played good this season. I am not here to argue with you or debate you on that. What I am here to say is that those two goalies have done it before. Stuart Skinner had a run last season of 3 months from December till basically the middle of February. He was one of the best goalies in the NHL. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, he had his weak moments. He's also only 26 years old, and he was huge for them when they beat the Dallas Stars in the Western Conference Final. He was massive in pretty much every elimination game that the Oilers played. This goaltending tandem, while they haven't lived up to expectations this season, they have shown in the past that they can do it. They are capable of it. On the other hand, I don't have that same view with this Edmonton Oilers blue line. John Klingberg absolutely cannot be a top 4 defenseman for you come opening night of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And if you were to get someone proper in that slot, it might cost you your 2026 first-round pick. It might cost you a prospect like Bo Akey, but that is going to allow the Oilers to play more structured. It's going to make life easier for Darnell Nurse because you'd give him a consistent high-end partner. It'll make life easier on Brett Kulak, who can slot onto the third pairing where he should be with a consistent partner in Ty Emberson. And if you put a good puck mover next to Darnell Nurse, you can trust them with more minutes, and it could ease the workload on Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm. Again, the system in front of the Oilers goaltending needs to get better. The goalies need to start holding up their end of the bargain as well. I am, again, not here to argue about that. 2 goalies below a .900 save percentage is not good enough, but they've shown us they can do it in the past, and the Oilers don't have the assets to be going out and making 3 or 4 gambles at this trade deadline. You can argue about them being in this spot and that it's bad asset management, and you can argue about what they did this summer and how those moves aren't working out, but at this deadline, they have a chance to make one big splash. that one big splash should be on the blue line where there are actual names that are available. But that's a video for another day. Until then, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, drop your favorite defenseman for the Oilers to acquire in the comments, or call me an idiot for saying they don't need a goalie. I don't care. Let me hear your opinion down in the comments, and stay tuned because we got a ton of deadline coverage coming right here on Oilers Nation. What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.